day, everyone, especially to you, sir, Mr. Anthony Gamale. Good day, sir. So now I'm going to report the chapter 6, which is the citizenship. So when we say citizenship, is a term denoting membership of citizens in a political society, which membership implies reciprocally a duty of allegiance on the part of the member and duty of protection on the part of the state. Citizenship is a person having the title of citizenship. So he is the member of a democratic community who enjoy full civil and political rights. And is recorded protection inside and outside the territory of the state. So citizenship and citizen distinguish from nationality and national. From the point of view of international law, citizenship and citizen do not exactly mean the same as nationality and national. So the national of a state include not only its citizens who enjoy full civil and political privileges, but also all others who are not its citizens but because they owe allegiance to it, so are not regarded as aliens. While all citizens are nationals of a state, not all nationals are citizens of a state. So let's proceed to the meaning of subject and alien. So a citizen is a member of a democratic community who enjoys full civil and political rights. In monarchical state, he is often called subject. So an alien is a citizen of a country who is residing in or passing through another country. He is popularly called foreigner. He is not given the full rights to citizenship but is entitled to receive protection as to his persons or property. So let's proceed to the two general ways of acquiring citizenship, which are involuntary method. Second is voluntary method. So when we say involuntary method, by birth, because of blood relationship or place of birth. So involuntary method, by naturalization, except in case of collective naturalizations of the inhabitants of a territory, which takes place when it is ceded by one state to another as a result of conquest or treaty. So what are the two modes in acquiring Philippines citizenship? So first is Filipino by birth or natural born Filipino. Second is Filipino by naturalization or naturalized citizen. So when we say Filipino by birth or natural born Filipino, just solely right of soil, which is the legal principle that a person's nationality at birth is determined by the place of birth. For example, the territory of a given state. So just sanguinis or right of blood, which is the legal principle that at birth an individual acquires the nationality of his or her natural parent or parents. The Philippine adheres to this principle. Second is Filipino by naturalization or naturalized citizen, so which is the judicial act of adopting a foreigner and clothing him with the privileges of the native-born citizen. So it implies the renunciation of a former nationality and the fact of entrance into a similar relation towards a new body. So, let's proceed the four classifications of Filipino citizen. Those who are citizens of the Philippines at the time of the adoption of this constitution. Those whose fathers or mothers are citizens of the Philippines. Third is those born before January 17, 1973 of Filipino mothers who elect Philippine citizenship upon reaching the age of majority, and those who are naturalized in accordance with law. So, let's proceed on ideals policy of naturalization. So the policy on naturalization should be guided by our own national interests. Perhaps the ideal is that only those who have come to love the country, who have integrated themselves into the citizenry, and who can contribute to the development of the nation should be conferred citizenship by naturalization. Naturalization is the act of formally adopting a foreigner into the political body of the state and clothing him with the rights and privilege of citizenship. It implies the renunciation of a former nationality and the fact of entrance to a similar relations towards a new body politic. So, nature of naturalization. An alien does not have a natural, inherent, or vested right to be admitted to citizenship in a state. So, citizenship is a matter of grace, favor, or privilege which a sovereign government may confer on or withhold from an alien or grant to him under such conditions as it sees fit without the support of any reason whatsoever. So citizenship in our republic, be it ever most powerful nation, if the world can take such citizenship for granted or assume it as a matter of right in the view of the above principles. So the rule is that in case of doubt concerning the grant of citizenship, such doubt be resolved in favor of the state and against the replicant for naturalization. So there are three ways of acquiring by naturalization. By judgment of the court. So the foreigner who wants to become a Filipino citizen must apply for naturalization with the proper regional trial court. So court of first instance, the revised Naturalization Act, is the present naturalization law. Such law shall also continue in force pursuant to the transitory provisions of the Constitution. So by direct act of Congress, in this case our law making body simply enact an act directly conferring citizenship to a foreigner. So third is by administrative proceeding. So under Republic Act number 9139, known as the Administrative Naturalization Law of 2000. So aliens born and residing in the Philippines may be granted Philippine citizenship by administrative proceeding before a special committee on naturalization. So the petition for citizenship shall be filed with a committee which has the power to approve, deny, or reject application as provided in the law. So who may be qualified as Philippine citizen by naturalization under the Revised Naturalization Act. Under Section 2, says 573 or the Revised Naturalization Law, the applicant must possess the following qualification. First is he must not be less than 21 years of age on the day of the hearing of the petition. Second, he must have resided in the Philippines for a continuous period of not less than 10 years. Third, he must be of good moral character and believes in the principles underlying the Philippine Constitution and must have conducted himself in a proper and approachable manner during the entire period of his residence in the Philippines in his relation with the constituted government as well as with the community in which he is living. So fourth is he must own real estate in the Philippines worth not less than 5,000 pesos Philippine currency or must have some known lucrative trade professions or lawful occupation. So fifth is he must be able to speak or write English or Spanish or any one of the principal languages. So last is he must have enrolled his minor children of the school age in any of the public or private schools recognized by the Bureau of Public Schools of the Philippines, where Philippine history or government and civics are taught or prescribed as part of the school curriculum during the entire period of the residence in the Philippines, required of him prior to the hearing of the petitions for naturalization as Philippine citizens. So, let's proceed to who are not qualified to apply for naturalization of the revised naturalization law. So, under sections of 4 of the revised naturalization law, the following persons cannot qualify for Philippine citizenship. First is person opposed to organized government or affiliated with any associations or group of persons who upload and teach doctrines opposing all organized governments. Second, person defending on or teaching the necessity or propriety of violence, personal assaults, or assassinations for the success and predominance of their ideas. So, polygamists or believers in the practice of polygamy. So, third is persons convicted of crimes involving moral turpitude. So, fourth is persons suffering from mental alienation or incurable contagious diseases. So, fifth is person who during the period of their stay in the Philippines have not mingled socially with the Filipinos or who have not evinced a sincere desire to learn and embrace the customs, traditions, and ideals of the Filipinos. So, sixth is citizens or subject of nation with whom the Philippines is at war. So, number 7 or the last is the last of not qualified to apply for naturalization. Citizens or subjects of a foreign country other than the United States whose laws do not grant Filipinos the right to become naturalized citizens or subject thereof. So let's proceed to the loss of citizenship. So, a Filipino citizen may lose his citizenship in any of the following ways. So, first is voluntary by naturalizations in a foreign country, and by express renunciations of citizenship or expatriation, and by the subscribing to an oath of allegiance to support the constitutions and law of foreign country. So and also by rendering service to or accepting commissions in the armed forces of a foreign country. So the voluntary loss or renunciations of one's nationality is called expatriation. So second is involuntary. So by cancellation of his certificate of naturalizations by the court, and also by having been declared by competent authority a deserter of the Philippine Armed Forces in times of war. So, what are the grounds of reacquiring lost Philippine citizenship? So, first is by naturalization, and second, by repatriation, affected by merely taking the necessary of allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines and registering the same in the proper civil registry, and also by direct act of Congress. So, retention and acquisition of citizenship. Under our Republic Act 9225, otherwise known as the Citizenship Retention and Reacquisitions Act of 2003, which was approved in August 29, 2003. Natural-born citizens of the Philippines who have lost their Philippine citizenship by reason of naturalization as citizens of a foreign country are them to have required Philippine citizenship upon taking an oath of allegiance to the Philippine Republic. So let's proceed to the oath of allegiance. So, for example, I'm Jezebel Goldie, solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the constitutions of the Republic of the Philippines and obey the laws and legal orders promulgated by the duly constituted authorities of the Philippines. So, and I hereby declare that I recognize and accept the supreme authority of the Philippines and will maintain through faith and allegiance thereto, and that I impose this obligation upon myself without mental reservations or purpose of evasion. So the natural-born citizens of the Philippines who after effectively of the act. So that's the example. So to become citizens of a foreign country shall retain their Philippine citizenship upon taking the aforesaid act. So now let's proceed the derivative citizenship. The unmarried child, whether legitimate or illegitimate or adopted, below 18 years of age, of those who reacquire Philippine citizenship upon effectivity of the act shall be them citizens of the Philippines. So in civil and political rights and liabilities, so those who shall retain or reacquire Philippine citizenship under the act shall enjoy full civil and political rights and be subject to all attendant liabilities and responsibilities under existing laws of the Philippines and the following condition. So those attending to exercise the rights of suffrage must meet in the requirements under Section 1, Article 5 of the Philippines Constitution on RA 9189, otherwise known as the Overseas Absentee Voting Act of 2003 under existing laws. So, second is those seeking elective public office in the Philippines shall meet the qualifications for holding such public office as required by the Constitution and existing laws and at the same of the filing. So, of the certificate of candidacy, make a personal and sworn renunciations of any and all foreign citizenship for any public officer authorized to administer of. So, third is those appointed to any public office shall subscribe and swear to an oath of allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines and its duly constituted authorities prior to their assumptions of office. So, they must renounce their oath of allegiance to the foreign country where they took that oath. So, fourth is those attending to practice their profession in the Philippines shall apply with the proper authority for the license or permit to engage in such practice and the right to vote or be elected or appointed to any public office. So in the Philippines, cannot be extended to those who are candidates for or are occupying any public office in the country of which they are naturalized citizens and are in active service as commissioned or non-commissioned officers in the armed forces of the country of which they are naturalized. So, let's proceed of what is the effect of marriage of a citizen to an alien. So, under Section 4, a Filipino citizen who marries an alien does not automatically lose his or her citizenship. So, even if his or her nationality was granted by his or her husband's or wife's country, so only by their act or omissions are they deemed under the law to have renounced their citizenship, such as taking an oath of allegiance to a foreign country. So, third is if a Filipino woman marries an alien and acquires her husband's citizenship, so she will be possessed two citizenships, Philippine citizenship and that of her husband. So, let's proceed to what is an allegiance. allegiance is loyalty owed by a person to his state. Section 5 prohibits more particularly naturalized Filipinos from practicing what is called dual allegiance. So declaring it inimical to national interest, note that what Section 5 prohibits is not dual citizenship, but dual allegiance of citizens. So when we say dual citizenship, refer to the possession of two citizenships by an individual, that of his original citizenships. So, and that of the country where he became a naturalized citizen. So it arises because our laws cannot control laws of other states on citizenship, but dual allegiance can be a matter of a personal choice or decision. What are the duties and obligations of the citizens? To be loyal to the republic. Loyalty implies faith and confidence in the republic, and love and devotion to the country. So the citizen must be proud of his country, its customs, traditions, language, and institutions. He must share in its glories and feel sad in its misfortunes. It is the home of our people, the set of our infections, and the source of our happiness and well-being. So second is to defend the state. So men may differ on religious beliefs and creeds, government policies, the wisdom and validity of laws, even the correctness or judicial decisions and decrees, but in field of love of countries, national unity and patriotism, they can hardly afford to differ, for these are matters in which they are mutually and vitally interested for to them. So they mean national existence or survival as a nation, or national extinction. So third is to contribute to the development and welfare of the state. So the development and welfare of the state should be the concern of every citizen, for he will be the first to enjoy the benefits thereof. So anything that affects him individually and personally. So he is affected by its ills and disorder, so growth and stability. So fourth is to uphold the constitutions and obey the laws. So it is the shrine for all the hopes and visions for our nation. Laws are enacted in accordance with it for the good of all. So it is therefore the duty of every citizen to defend and respect the constitutions and obey the laws. So if the people would disregard them, the government would collapse, and this would mean lawlessness and the disintegration of the social order. So the Constitution contains provisions designed to ensure that is the accord. So to the fifth is to cooperate with the duly constituted authorities. So the larger interest of the group and the nation that he must serve necessarily involve his own. and he would be recurrent to the claims of that interest if he did not actively concern himself with the affairs of his government. So it is not enough for example that a citizen should take care that in his daily life he does not violate any of the multi, hmm, multitudinous rules, multitudinous rules. So sixth sixth is to exercise rights responsibly with due regards to the rights of others. So society is composed of men, each with interests of his own in the course of life. So the interests of man conflict with those of many others. So amidst the continuous clash on interest, the ruling social philosophy should be that in the ultimate social order. So the welfare of every man depends upon the welfare of all. So 7, let's proceed to the to engage in gainful work. So employment is not the obligation solely of the state. So every citizen should consider it his own responsibility and should strive to become a useful and productive member of society to assure not only himself but perhaps more important, so his family a life worthy of human dignity. So the last is to register and vote. So suffrage is both a privilege and a duty which every qualified citizen must perform. So it is through suffrage that the will of the people is expressed. So the quality of public official of the government so depend direct or indirect upon the voters. So that's all for today, and thank you and God bless you. That's all.